Okay, so we have the butter, the cinnamon, the sugar all on our dough. So the next step is to roll it up. So you want to start at the end closest to you. And I always kind of fold it over just to get it started. And just gently roll. You make sure you want to roll it pretty tight, because if you roll it up and it's not tight, then when you cut it, all your cinnamon and sugar is going to fall out. You don't want that to happen. So roll, roll, roll. Okay, so now I kind of just pinch the edges shut. All right, so now you have a log. The next step is to slice it with your bread knife. Just make sure this is all sealed in. Okay, wipe my hands. Here I have a baking dish. That's what we're going to put it in. So I'm going to spray it. So when we slice them, they can go right in there. And they will actually have to rise again. This is your bread knife. Going over the parts of the knife, this is the nose, this is the spine, the handle, the heel, and of course the blade. So this knife has a serrated edge, kind of like the teeth of the knife, and what that is for is to slice through bread or dough without squishing it. So when you use this knife, you're not like chopping down. You glide back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You don't really have to press down at all. And it slides through the bread nice and easy, or your dough, and doesn't squish it. So the first step, you always want to hold the knife 4 fingers underneath and your thumb across. And what you're going to do, you always want to keep your hand on the dough or whatever you're slicing, and keep your eye on the blade at all times. So I'm going to just slice the ends off. You can see I'm not pressing down, I'm just gliding back and forth. And those ends just get thrown out, because remember, there's raw egg in there. Keep your eye on the blade at all times. Okay, so remember, just like we did with all of our other recipes, the same size, baked the same way. So if you want really big cinnamon rolls, for sure, cut them larger. Keep in mind, these will actually rise again. So, they'll still get bigger, okay? So depending on how big you make them, that's totally fine. Just make sure that they're all the same size so they bake the same way. So what I do before I actually start to cut is I just put little cuts in the dough like that. So that way I can look and like, okay, they're all even. And then I go back through and cut them. So they look pretty good. Now I'm going to slice them. There you go. And just put it in your baking dish. Look at all the rolls. Yum. And these will actually kind of cook together, but when you bring them out of the oven, they do come apart nice and easy. Slice, slice. Take your time, take your time. There we go. All right, almost there. Yum, yum, yum. So, in between day 1 and day 2, we let the dough rise about 40 minutes, and then in between day 2 and day 3, you want to let it rise again about 40 minutes as well, because remember, yeast requires much more time and attention, so this yeast is still working. So I'm going to wrap these with saran wrap, and then let the yeast keep working, let them rise that second time, and then we'll put them into the oven. And then tomorrow I'll show you how to make the glaze and just eat them up, okay? So If you're making these at home, be careful with the knife, be careful around the oven, and of course, if you make them at home, let me know how it goes. All right, see you tomorrow.